The other team's quarterback must go down, and he must go down hard.
Now, as usual, with all of our game reviews, the first thing we want to do is take a look at the final injury report that came out this afternoon. So let's take a look at that right now. So as far as the Raiders go, we have 4 players that are questionable. Jonathan Hankins, who's been questionable with that back injury. I doubt he's going to play, to be honest with you. Josh Jacobs had the ribs. He's kind of up and down. He's listed as questionable. I think he'll play, but I think he's going to have limited game time, and I'll talk about that in my game review on the offensive side. Casey Hayward had an ankle. I think he'll probably play limited time. We'll see. We'll see where that is, number one. So David Rivera, I see you in there. I will get to all of your comments after we get through the game review here, and then we can have a discussion. But the one item I want to look at right now is Darren Waller. He has had limited practice all week, listed as questionable. I think he's going to play. This is a very important game, obviously. I think if we were out of it, Waller wouldn't play this week. It wouldn't really matter. But there's playoffs involved, and I think he's going to come out and show up for us. As far as the Chargers go, Joe Graziano, he's out. He's a backup guy. And Drew Tranquil, who likes to come in on the nickel packages, he's questionable, but he had full practice on Friday, so he's probably going to play. We're definitely going to have to keep track of him and the blocking schemes. We didn't do a very good job with that in the first game. He came in basically unabated, untouched, causing disruptions on blitzes. So as far as that goes, I want to get right into my first key to the game now. Should be pretty obvious, and it was your number one as far as the voting goes, and that was getting to Justin Herbert. And I'm going to have to agree with that, but I have a little bit more I want to talk about, and I'm going to give you reasons why. So my goal is to get at least 10 quarterback hits, have the Chargers be less than 50% on third down conversions, and get at least 1 turnover. Now, there's reasons for this. This offense is for real. If you don't know, they're third in third down conversions in the league. They're third in first downs, total number of first downs. They average a little over 23 first downs a game. They're fifth in scoring when they get the ball. And then they're second as far as total points per drive. This team can light it up. So the best way to stop that is to get to the quarterback and put the quarterback down and down hard, just like Al Davis said. But I put the at least 1 turnover here for a couple reasons. Number one, we've been having trouble generating turnovers in general with this defense for quite some time. We're in the league, near the league low overall for turnovers. We only have 5 interceptions on the year. That's pathetic. But I say this because I'm looking at the Chargers, and when there are no turnovers generated by their opponents on them, they are 5-0 this year. They are undefeated this year. So it's going to be hard. Honestly, it's going to be hard pressed. This is going to be a tough offense to even stop or slow down. And if we can't get any turnovers, then we're basically going to be trying to win in a shootout. So, but if you get at least 1 turnover, they've been 2-2 in those games. So we do have a lot better shot, obviously, if we can generate at least 1 turnover. It's got to happen at some point. If at any time, it's got to be here. We're fighting for a playoff spot. Hey, Dominique, I saw you pop in. Good to see you as well. We're going over the defensive side. So that's my first key to the game. Now, my second key, you could go to Justin Herbert himself, but I'm thinking if we can take care of this first key, the other one's going to have to be Austin Eckler. Not for the reasons you might think. Austin Eckler's a great player. He's kind of on the smaller side. However, this Chargers offense has really kind of turned up their running game lately. They've been averaging 114 yards per game in the last 3 games. Now, we've been doing pretty well ourselves as far as stopping the run the last few games. A lot of run-heavy teams, especially with Austin Eckler. And the last game we played was week 4, obviously, and they had 168 total rushing yards on us, and Eckler himself got 117 on only 15 carries. He just dominated us. So what I'm asking for here, as far as the goal, is less than 100 yards rushing from Eckler. I put 130 total all-purpose yards. So that includes receiving. So maybe like 80 rushing yards, 50 receiving. If we can keep them at that and less than 2 touchdowns, we've got a pretty good shot here. Again, this isn't my number one key. I would say probably this is my number one key of all of these, because this offense is very tough to play against. Obviously, I would say they're in the top 5 in many categories. They're 4th overall. The game, it's kind of a misnomer because the running game's really kind of stepped up the last 3-4 weeks, like I said. So, and plus this offensive line is one of the better offensive lines we're going to be facing the whole year. So if you are enjoying this, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. And when you do, hit this bell notification right here, set it to all. That way you'll be notified of all of our live streams. We usually go live on Fridays before the weekend when we get the final injury report, do my game preview, but also we go live at halftime, and we're going to be doing that here. Now, they moved the game to Sunday Night Football. Game starting time is 5:20 Pacific, which means halftime will be about 6:50 Pacific, 9:50 Eastern, 8:50 Central. So set your notifications. I'll be putting this out, and we're going to talk about the first half as well as how the team is doing compared to my 4 keys to the game. So we go about 10 or 15 minutes. We have a lot of fun. I encourage you to come on out and join us. So with that said, let's get to our offensive side of the ball.
And I hear everyone say, take what they give you. We're going to take what we want.
Here on the offensive side of the ball, we first need to know our enemy, and that's going to be the Chargers defense. Hello, Earth Daughter. How you doing? I see you in there. Thanks for coming out. Now, this Chargers defense is a bit opportunistic, not as much as the Colts were as far as turnovers, but they are above average with doing that, and we need to watch ourselves with that, and I'll talk about my first key in a minute, but they can be had. They are 27th in first downs allowed, the worst in third down conversion rate, almost 50%. That is the worst in the NFL. They're 29th in red zone percentage. It kind of goes on and on. They're one of the worst teams. I said 30th in the league as far as rush defense. Plus, they're one of the worst teams as far as number of missed tackles. So they can be had, but you don't make mistakes on this team, especially in the secondary. That's really their strength. Not only that, they have some pretty good pass rushers here, including the big mouth here, Joey Bosa. Nwosu's no slack as well. Tillery did get a sack on us. I don't understand how. I think he's been a bust. He was a first-round guy. He's supposed to be their nose tackle in the 3-4. Didn't pan out. They moved him to end. Still doesn't really have a high grade. But we need to, as usual, I'm going to have to go with my first key to the game, and that's with Derek Carr. And also, this includes Greg Olsen. So we have the on-field and off-field generals. So not only with the performance, but also the play calling and the scheme. And that kind of takes into account that we can't let these guys kind of come unabated. I talked about Drew Tranquill doing that on a couple of blitzes and creating havoc. We can't allow that. And here are my goals as far as not just Carr, but the offense itself. I want to see 50% third down conversions. We can do that against this team. Like I said, they're 27th against it, and no turnovers. I'm tired of seeing these turnovers. We've made some mistakes, and we've played teams with really shitty quarterbacks, and it didn't really burn us. Justin Herbert is a good quarterback. If we turn the ball over, we're going to be dead in this game, okay? And then I put 33 minutes in time of possession. I think that's going to be key to this game. Not only to slow down their offense, but also wear down this defense. It's a weak run defense. We come out strong. If not get the lead early, at least keep it close so they can't pin their ears back and come after us like they did in the first game. They got a 21-0 lead at halftime. They didn't have to, they could cheat. We weren't going to really be run heavy. They knew that. Don't give these guys any more advantage. And to go along with this, I know Darren Waller is questionable. He's got to get involved as well as Hunter Renfrow. In the last game, they had 10 receptions for 95 yards and 2 touchdowns combined. I know we had Henry Ruggs in the game, but he kind of was an okay factor. He only had 60 yards. I had that 1 touchdown, but I think that's the key to this game, short passes, and also my second key to the game, and that is getting the running game here. I know Josh Jacobs is questionable with the ribs. Frankly, he's usually pretty fragile, and I don't care if it's Peyton Barber. I don't care if it's Jalen Richard, Trey Regis, Idi Amin. We get Marcus Allen out of retirement. I really don't care, but the running game itself, I'm thinking we got to get at least 130 yards for all the rushers. And more importantly, I want to see 10 rushing first downs. Now, like I said, this defense is worst in rushing first downs. So 27th overall in total first downs. We can take this team if we do it right. We cannot make these silly plays, these silly turnovers. And not only that, we cannot, that's why I have this right here. We can't go 3 and out. The defense does this job. They punt, and we get a 3 and out, and the defense is back on the field. And now we're blaming the defense because they have a long drive. That's ridiculous. The offense needs to control this game, control the tempo, and it starts with the running game. And if we can block like we did against Denver, I don't see a problem with that. This run defense is just as bad, if not worse, than Denver's, to be honest with you. I think they're a lot like the Denver defense, where they have some pass rushers, and their highlight to their defense is their secondary, and the middle is not really that good. Kenneth Murray was a former first-round pick. Hasn't really shown much, to be honest with you, there at the position. Same thing I already talked about with Tillery. So those are the 4 keys to the game.
When you have great coaches, then after you have great coaches, you get great players. You have a great organization, and you tell them one thing: just win, baby.